guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Nobu Kumalo. If you are here for the first time, welcome. If you're coming back for the second or third time, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is inspired by this book that I read during the month of February, which is called The Psychology of Money. The first chapter was really captivating to me, and I thought, let me just go ahead and share what I learned from it. So, no one's crazy. We're all just doing our best. So we often look at people and we think, why would they do that, right? Why would they not save so much money? Or why would they buy this and not that? Why would they take their kids to this school and not that school? Why would they not, spank their children? Not spanking children spoils them. We all look at people and sometimes think, if I were in their shoes, I would make a better decision than that. We often think sometimes that the decisions that people make are irrational, and we think that there's obviously a better decision than they're making. But no one's crazy, right? And no one has the formula to life. So a decision that looks irrational to me might be the best decision for you, might be a decision that when you are considering all the options that you had in your circumstances and your experiences, you decided that this is the best course of action to take. We all make what we believe to be the best decision based on the information that we have at that time, and we tick all the boxes and we make it make sense to us and think that we are making the best decision. Now, I did say that there's no template to life, and that's because our decisions are influenced by a lot more than what we objectively think is the best course of action. So someone who grew up in poverty and someone who grew up in wealth have a different experience of life, and they have different ideas and views about the world, which then influences how they think about risk, how they think about security, and how they think about stability. So to quote The Psychology of Money, people from different generations, raised by different parents who earned different incomes and held different values in different parts of the world, born into different economies, experiencing different job markets with different incentives and different degrees of luck, learn very, very different lessons. So, to someone, buying a house cash seems irrational because, objectively speaking, it's not a good use of money, right? Why not take that money and invest it in something that can grow that money? And given inflation, not to go into a finance lesson, but given inflation, that money is worth more now than it would be worth in the future. So why would they spend all that money on a property instead of investing it and earning interest, right? But to the person who grew up without a place to call home, to the person who was always threatened with eviction, to the person who never knew what it was like to have a roof over their head, to them, if they get hold of money, buying a house cash and knowing that they owe no one, for that house is the best and the biggest form of security, and that's what makes them feel safe and secure. And to them, knowing that even if all else fails, they have a roof above their heads is their number one priority. So this is just an example of how something that can seem objectively irrational to a lot of people might actually not be irrational to the person who's making that decision. And so we live in an information age, right, where there's a lot of information about a lot of things. Like, you go on the internet, you can read about any and everything from health to finances to relationships to career. There's a lot of information and a lot of advice, which we usually can agree is solid advice, right? Which we usually can agree, if followed, is going to yield good results. And yet with all this information and with the ease of access to information, we still find people who make decisions that we can kind of objectively agree are not the best decisions. And why does this happen? That's because every decision that a person makes, right, makes sense to them in that moment and checks the boxes that they need to check in that moment when they're making that decision. So when we make decisions, we tell ourselves a story about what we're doing and why we're doing it, and that story shapes then how we make a decision. And these stories about what we're doing and why we're doing and how much we need to push to do it are shaped by our personal and unique experiences of life. So no amount of information, no amount of studying, no amount of, guidance and open-mindedness can genuinely recreate the power of fear and uncertainty, right? So some lessons you just have to experience them. Some lessons just have to be experienced before they can be understood. And sometimes a person can, understand at a theoretical and a book level and agree with you that objectively this makes sound advice. But when they then factor in their past experiences, their lived experiences, their trauma, their fears, their worries, their risks, they often will arrive at a different decision, because the decisions that we make are largely influenced by more than just what we know, but what we've experienced and what we feel. And then even people who make objectively bad decisions, right? They aren't crazy. They aren't crazy when they're making those decisions, because they're not going out of their way seeking to make decisions, right? So no one wakes up in the morning and decides that they want to not save. They don't care about security in the future, right? No one wakes up in the morning and sets out to make a bad decision. From the perspective of a person making a decision, and I'm talking about a decision that we can all look at and be like, this was a crazy decision. They looked at the information that was available to them, and they assessed the specific, circumstances that they thought they were in, and given all that they knew, they thought at the time they were making a good decision. So even in cases where we look at someone and we know more and we want to correct and guide them or help people who've made really bad decisions, we have to approach them with the understanding that these people genuinely thought they were making a good decision at that time. And so we need to approach them with grace, and we need to approach them with understanding. So we all do crazy stuff because we're all relatively new to life, right? Like there's no trial run for life. We all get born, and for a few years our lives are in the control of others, and we don't have to be responsible, and then eventually we grow up and we just have to adult, and we don't have a template for it. There's no trial run. We just grow up and we're expected to live life and make life altering decisions, and we try to make sense of the present and plan for the future based on our past, and that's honestly a daily struggle. It is hard. So what looks crazy to you might make sense to me, because I have walked in my shoes. I know what I've felt. I know what makes me tick, and I know what makes me scared, and because of that I make decisions a certain way. So the next time you look at someone and you're tempted to think, that's crazy, I would never do that, remember that unless and until you've walked a mile in their shoes, right, and you've shared in their life experiences, and you've experienced their trauma and their pain and all that, you will never understand the decisions they're making and why they make them. So the next time you're tempted to think someone is crazy, extend grace, extend understanding instead of judgment, because no one's crazy. We're all just doing our best. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, please engage. Maybe tell me about a time when you thought that someone was making a crazy decision and then you took time to understand them and you actually understood why they were making that decision. Let's engage in the comment section. Please like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything and it's free. And also, please click the notification bell so that each time I upload something, you will be notified. Also, please share the channel, share the video with your people, and let's grow this community. I hope this was valuable to you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.